Hi everybody, it's RetroYuuki and welcome to another MelonDS tutorial. Today we're going to be focusing on the screen orientation as well as other ways to present your screen in Nintendo and MelonDS for a live stream of a video game. So before we get into that, let's take a look at some of the scenes I created for the Francis Squad, which is my channel and game for our Francis characters, including Francis the Fox, Francis the Rabbit, and Francis the Jackal. So as you can see here, we have a layout that is for a vertical version of the screen of the MelonDS actually. And then I'm going to present to you the horizontal layout as well. So here is the horizontal layout for the game. And as you can see here, I'm going to have to present this horizontally. So I'm going to explain how to do that in just a moment. But first, I'm going to go back to vertical so you can see it the correct way right here. It is vertical. So let's go ahead and go back to our tutorial scene. I can present to you how it looks like. So I'm going to load up a game, and today I'm going to load up Mario 64 DS because I'm playing that tonight with Francis Fox. So, interestingly enough, we're going to have some Mario with us. But we're going to be presenting this as a tutorial. So to get started, I'm going to pause the emulator so that it won't copyright me, of course. And we're going to go to System, Configuration, and we're going to show you guys some options. So here's the vertical version. So to rotate your screen horizontally or vertical, head over to screen rotation. Excuse me, screen layout is what it's called. And you're gonna see this. The the vertical is what you're seeing now. Here is how it looks like horizontally. Now keep in mind that it's a little bit squished. All you have to do is resize the window of MelonDS all the way down to here where you can see the game, and then resize it like this, and then you can keep going like this until you can see what you're doing. Example, and as you can see, it's a big boy. This is now a tick boy. As you can see, this is now in the horizontal variant of MelonDS. Now we go back to configuration and go back to screen layout. If you want to go to the vertical again, just press vertical and again resize accordingly. Resize to your heart's content accordingly, as long as you guys can see the game and the screen as presented like here. Try your best to resize it in a way that lets you see it along with your audience during a live stream. So when we go back to my Francis the Fox layout, excuse me, the Francis Squad layout, that is the vertical version. Ignore all the other stuff because that's for more of streaming. But there is another way you can actually present this, believe it or not. And this is more of the streamers. So some streamers actually double play it. There's one there's one scene that is like there's one screen that is more bigger than the other. Sometimes you're gonna see that in a speedrun or a stream. So how do we present that? Well, we represent that in a few ways. So I'm gonna show you guys that in the blanks. So I'm just gonna use this as an example. So I'm going to add a source. I'm going to add the window that has my thing here. So what I'm going to present right now is how streamers usually present a Nintendo DS game. So what I'm about to do is I'm going to split this into two windows. So now there is more advanced. So keep this in mind. What I'm gonna do as a tutorial here, I'm gonna present this too. Here we go. What I'm gonna do for this, I'm going to add a different scene. Not scene, but different window. You're gonna see what I'm gonna say in a moment. So this is what you see right now. I'm going to press the plus button. I need to have a display. Here we go. So I'm gonna present this right now. So we need to have stretch the screen. We're gonna have this needs to be on top. So we're gonna present this right now. So this is the MelonDS, but we're gonna split the screen. I'm going to right click. I'm gonna have to shrink this puppy a little bit, but we're gonna right click on this one, and we're going to go to filter. So what you're gonna see now is the filter window for this particular source. We're gonna go to plus, and we're gonna go to crop, and pad. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna split this in half, and we're gonna say the bottom. We're only gonna display the top screen. So the bottom, I believe, is 200. It's gonna be 400. 400 pixel. 450. 460 pixel. Yes, 460 pixels. And then we're always going to go crop the top because we don't want to see the menu screen. At least a 20 pixel. So now we have the top screen. So the top screen has been selected for us. Now we can move this anytime we want. And then let's say you want to put some information about your stream down here. Okay. Then let's say, you know what? Let's also add the bottom screen somewhere here. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna have another I'm gonna shrink this again. Another window capture. We're gonna do the same window. But this time we're gonna be focusing on the bottom screen where the Mario is. So what we need to do there is we're going to right click on a new one, and we're going to go to filters, and crop/pad on the plus button. But this time we're going to go down. We're going to go from top to down. Top, let's say you also have to add the bonus pixel from the little menu bar on the top in addition to the actual screen. So I believe it was 250. We're gonna go, let's say 300, 350. Let's go 400, 450, 60, 70, 80. So 485, 490 looks to be the nitric number. And then you're good there. You don't need to crop the bottom because the thing is, some things are on the bottom and you don't want to crop that off. Press close, and now you can not print, but you can move the screen here based on where you want it. Some streamers do it on here, like a little screen here, and then for this one, they do a big boy screen here for some reason, this is how they are. So the big screen here, the top bottom screen here for some games. Not all. They don't do this for all games, but I know for sure they do like a little bottom screen here and the big boy screen here like this. So you would see this kind of layout for a streamer sometimes. And then they put their like their follower goals, all that good stuff. So a little bit of a presentation of how to use OBS as well, along with MelonDS with the tutorial on screen orientation. So there's many ways to present your screen of the MelonDS to your audience who's watching your Mario DS or your Nintendo DS streams here. Now sometimes you can get a little bit more creative, but I'm not going to do that until later on. I'm not going to present that for this one. But there is more. There is more. Where that came from, because you can also do a screen gap. And I'm going to show you guys that right now on MelonDS. So let's take a look at the actual software here. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go back to horizontal by going to config. We're going to go to screen layout and we're going to go back to horizontal. And then we're going to do this. We're going to resize everything so that you guys can see it. Now what we're about to show you guys is a screen gap. But why would you need a screen gap for? In the regular Nintendo DS, the actual system, you have like a gap between the top and the bottom screen. Let's emulate that right now. Let me explain what I'm showing you guys. So you see how there's a gap between the top screen and the bottom screen. And the gap is presented by this particular fold on the Nintendo DS. Now we're not going to replicate it exactly. Our goal is to present to you guys that gap. Now if you're wondering what this is a video about why emulation in 2023. Please take a look at it. I have presented to you guys why later on. But for the purposes of this tutorial, go to configuration, go to screen gap. And this is by pixel, by pixels. So let's take a look at 1 pixel. As you can see, there's a black outline on where the gap is, but it's so small. Let's do it again, but this time we're going to go to 8 pixels, and you can see now the gap has widened now that we have that 8 pixel separation. The max number of pixels you can actually do is 128, which looks like this. Now you may be wondering, why would you do this? Well, a few reasons actually, if you're a streamer. So let's take a look at the layout now that we took a look at the thing here. Let's take a look at the Francis squad, and we're going to be taking a look more at the horizontal one. So if we take a look at this horizontal layout I may created for this, leave it right here. I'm going to move my MelonDS thing to here, here, and then I believe here. So you might be wondering, what am I going to be using this for if we have a screen gap? What could be this for? Well, a few things. Streamers love to display their followers, their super chats, and all that good stuff. And interestingly enough, I do this. You can actually display that information inside of this. All you have to do is do a little bit of creativity, and you're golden. So for example, I can put my, let's say I move my latest follower or something here. Latest what is this? Follower on Twitch. Let's say I say latest follower on Twitch right here. I can easily display that right here in that little gap area that we just created for from the MelonDS. Just keep in mind, however, when you go back to horizontal, I mean vertical, that this is also going to be vertical when you design. So be very careful when redesigning your layout corresponding to the game that you are about to play. I'm going to go back to my, so that I don't mess this up for tonight, I'm going to go back to my vertical because that's what everybody wants for some reason. So I'm going to go back to my vertical. Let me show you how it looks like vertically on my layout for Francis Squad. It's going to look odd, but it is how it's going to look like for vertical. Let me just open it correctly. And then let's put this back to vertical config. Go to layout, vertical. And then let's resize this nice thing. Size this. Go up here. Down here. Oops. Go resize that accordingly. This is how it's going to look like with screen layout, vertical, and the screen gap that we created with that. And my latest follower on Twitch would be right here, just in case. I would suggest though not to do this unless you know like what you're doing in the middle, because I would suggest the screen gap to be no more than, let's say, let's go no more than 64 is a little bit too much. Let's go to 8. Actually, that's too small, but for the sake of the tutorial, 8 is the magic number. So you can do a little something there. And if we take a look at the layout again on Francis Squad, it looks much better. And it actually looks like the regular Nintendo DS. So based on what your needs are for that day of streaming or content creation, I would play around with screen size and all that good stuff. Now, speaking of other stuff, and orientation and presentation of your game, we can even do a stuff here. There's other options for you. So for example, if we go back to config, besides screen gap and screen layout, we can do something called swap screens, and that's basically what it sounds like. You just swap the screen. And then if we continue the game, the top screen becomes my touch screen. As you can see, I'm touching it with my mouse. I'm gonna go back though, I don't want to mess it up for tonight. And then you see how this is now, this top screen went down, the bottom screen went up. So you can actually swap screens. And if we do show you guys on the layout, you can see that now everybody is going to see the top screen on the top. I mean, excuse me, the bottom screen on the top and the top screen on the bottom. The only reason why you would do this is the fact that the touchscreen has the map for Nintendo DS for Super Mario 64. Okay, so you can actually display that if you want. So based on your preference for the game, of course. What else can you do? Well, check this out. I'm gonna pause the game again to avoid copyright. So now let's go to configuration again, and let's go to rotation. We can actually rotate the screen up to 270 degrees. I do not want you to play with this until you absolutely know what you're doing. I'm just gonna show you what happens. If we rotate the screen, it's gonna look like this. And I'm gonna tell you, unless you're playing a game with a screen rotator like Mario, I believe there is a game that you have to rotate your DS 180 degrees or something. Unless you have to do that, do not play with this feature unless you absolutely know what you're doing, because this is not your typical layout. So when would you use this? The only time you would use anything like this is when you're playing a game that requires you to rotate the screen a certain way, like upside down or 180 degrees. But don't do it unless it absolutely tells you. Most of the games you don't need to do that, or most of the games you don't need. There's no instructions for that. So you go back. Just go to screen rotation. Go to 0, and then just resize everything again. Okay, so that is how you do that part. Now there is, however, something else, and you might have seen me going past it in screen layout, and that is called hybrid. But I'm gonna take away the swap screen here. I'm gonna go show you guys what hybrid does. So hybrid in screen layout looks like this. Ah, yes. Remember that little presentation I did for a streamer, where you have the big boy and the small boy. This is it. This is how they do it. Although they usually do it in two different screens. So what I'm about to show you right now is this in action. So if we go to system pause, you're gonna see it says the big screen is going to be let me actually close that. So it says touch to start, but the touch screen is actually on the bottom right. Okay, you can actually swap it. All you have to do is go to config, screen layout, swap screens. Now the big boy is a touch screen now. We go to adventure and we go to, let's say, file 1. I'm not using this one for my gameplay tonight because I'm already in the 43 star. But you can see that I'm moving Yoshi, and you can see the map. Or during the game, go to config, go to screen layout, go to swap, and you can see this in action right here. So you can see me, I'm moving Yoshi. You can see both the map and the screen there too. I can still use the touch screen here at any time I want. And that's how it's going to look like when you do that. And interestingly enough, our screen rotation gap here is still in play. So all you have to do, go to screen gap and 0, and you're done. So your main game is going to be on your left, on the big boy left. On the right is the replication for both the top and bottom screen. Now when you touch the thing, you have to go on the top bottom right screen. So depending on what game you're playing, you can actually display it like this. Mario Kart could be a good example for this game, for this layout that you can play with, for example. Because all I'm doing is using the top screen big boy to show you guys a presentation of how this game looks like. So it's depending on how you want to present the game. So So that's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. For layout and orientation. Depending on how you want to present your game, you guys can present your game that way. Okay? So make sure you take advantage of stuff. And maybe you can do something very creative, which I'm going to explore with this later on. Now keep in mind that this kind of layout will take up more space on your screen for the computer. So be very careful of that. As long as you want to see make sure you see your chat messages and all that. But this is something for you guys to experiment with. Okay? I would do something cool where, for example, assuming that everything won't be blocked, I could actually crop this thing, this scene right here, this bottom right corner, and I can put it on a bottom part of this while this is playing too. So you never know where you can be very creative with the stuff. So get creative with what you're about to see here, okay? So that is a presentation of how to do the screen layout, screen gap, presentation of the game, and all that all in one tutorial. Keep in mind, however, that this is going to be different on the game based on the game that you are playing right now. For example, tonight I'm playing Mario 64 DS. Most of the time I'm going to present it with just the two screens. So instead of a hybrid, I go with vertical. Like this. So no more big boy screen. Well, because of the way that I present my content, especially with the character. But that's how I show it as well. And you can touch screen, all that good stuff. So that's the presentation and that's the tutorial. If you have any questions for me, let me know. I'll be able to answer them. If you have any ideas, let me know as well. I'll try to get into the advanced material as well, other than controller stuff. Because there's a lot to go over, including like video, camera, audio, multiplayer, Wi-Fi, firmware, interface, path setting, save state, and all that good stuff. There's a lot to go over. And remember, there's a lot more you can do with this. So I didn't even show you, that was just the tip of the iceberg, if you will. If you want a part 2 of this, let me know. For now, that is it for this one. Enjoy your retro gaming. As always, it is RetroYuuki saying, live life to the fullest, have fun, and enjoy your retro games, y'all.